To present our next award, would you please welcome the president of the Javad Moafagian Foundation, Hamid Eshki.
This Courage to Come Back Award recognizes that the person who best exemplifies the courage and strength it takes, not only to overcome the obstacle of living with the mental illness, but to go on to live their life in the manner that gives hope and assistance to others who live with mental illness.
On the phone talking to her friends, interpreting their dreams, giving psychic advice. He believed his mother had passed her gift to him. So at night, when the voices only he could hear spoke to him, he knew it was because he was like his mom. But as he grew older, hideous faces in the mirror terrified him. He would whisper to his brother, "Can you see that?" A lifetime of psychosis was taking form, stealing the mind of Andy Fiore. His teen years were challenging, his parents divorced, yet Andy graduated from high school and earned a degree in radio and television production at Ryerson University. He fell in love and was soon engaged to marry. Still, the nights were filled with whispering voices. Often faces glared at him from the mirror. When his fiancée broke off their engagement, he decided to make a change, to go to South Korea to teach English. But like fuel thrown on a smoldering fire, the loss of his relationship and the complete change of lifestyle caused his hallucinations to flare up. Dark, sinister, terrifying, suffocating. Images pursued him, voices taunted him until he finally, desperately returned to Toronto to get help. Andy was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and with most illnesses, that's the first step in recovery. But with mental illness, this is not the case. Decisions become impossible. Andy was prescribed medication, but as soon as the medication started to work, Andy believed he was cured and stopped them. It was only a matter of months before the voices were back. Rather than go back on the expensive doctor-mandated medication, Andy began to self-medicate with street drugs. In no time, he was addicted to heroin. Frantically searching for peace, he stumbled along a rocky path that led him to Vancouver, and the demons followed. For the next 5 years, he lived an unholy trinity, living on the street, arrest and incarceration, and then back to the streets. He trusted no one, had no real friends, had no home. Voices were his constant companions. Hallucinations, terror, fear were all he knew. A major overdose led to treatment in a methadone program. But without the heroin, the hallucinations ran rampant. Andy was living in hell. And then a miracle began for Andy. He met Sue, and although she had no experience with mental illness, she stood beside him as the terror consumed him, saw firsthand how ill he truly was, knew that he would need medication for the rest of his life. She became his advocate, his rock. And on that rock, he began to rebuild his life. A short stay in the hospital meant a new course of medication. And with Sue at his side, Andy also began to recognize that the medication helped. Within a year, he began to pick up the pieces of this life. His passion for film began to reignite, and he applied for a small arts grant to make a film. One sunny day, instead of buying drugs outside the Carnegie Center, he proudly entered the building to pick up his first arts grant. Through the process of making that film, Andy found a voice that had been silent for years, a voice of compassion and understanding, a voice of unique perspective. That film led to another and another, telling the stories that Andy cared about, the stories of the downtown East Side that had been his home for over 7 years. Soon, he was accepting commissions to tell stories for others, using his voice to give voice to the needs of others. He began speaking to community groups and high school students, and he is currently filming The 100 Block, documenting the plight of sex trade workers on the downtown East Side. Like his live presentations, his films speak with honesty and a conviction born in the realities of the hell Andy has known. Filmed through the lens of someone who has crawled, stumbled, and walked through the dark and stormy night to find the golden light of dawn. Illuminating a strength he never knew he had, the determination he didn't believe he'd find, and most of all, illuminating Andy Fiore's incredible courage to come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 Courage to Come Back Award recipient for mental health, Andy Fiore.
That's perfect. Thank you. It truly is an honor to have been selected for this prestigious award. Thank you to my partner, Sue Batura, for being there in my darkest hour. Without you, I would not have been able to do the work that I do. My journey has been full of twists, surprises, and obstacles. However, once my medication was corrected, I began to see that I could return to a productive life. In 2009, with the help of Sue, I decided to purchase a consumer video camera, which was out of my budget. Ever so slowly, I began to reignite my passion for filmmaking. And each year, we would make 2 films, and every year, institutions would buy the titles, encouraging me to move forward. In 2010, I decided to start emailing high schools in order to increase my sales. What happened was that high school educators were asking me to talk to their students. I decided to try guest speaking, having never done it before. My first engagement was at Newton Learning Exchange in Surrey. And I'm very glad I took it on because at this engagement, a young lady spoke up indicating that she thought her mother might have been exhibiting warning signs of schizophrenia. The young woman was also concerned for her own mental health. That breakthrough made me aware of just how powerful it was to reach out and make a difference through awareness. This experience made a profound difference in how I began to see mental illness. I thought about how I wished somebody had come to speak to my class when I was in high school. Perhaps had I known about mental illness at a young age, I could have avoided the life-changing tragedy I experienced while teaching in Korea. And so because of this experience, my goal today is very clear. My dream is to be able to guest speak at schools across BC and then Canada. Imagine all the kids I could reach on such a path or circuit. We're living in an exciting time, an age of an intelligence revolution, and I want to share what I know with the world. My gift for filmmaking needs to be shared within the educational realm so that at-risk youth, including kids who are being bullied, can turn to their cameras to express their pain, rather than looking to drugs, to the downtown East Side, or more tragically to suicide. Today, through screenings, broadcasts, and educational acquisitions, my films reach a wider audience than I could have ever imagined. And so now, as I accept this prestigious award, I am eagerly looking forward to being able to continue to eradicate the stigma around mental illness. My mission is to spread my positive messages through both my film work and my guest speaking. Thank you, Coast Mental Health, for allowing me to be a role model and inspiration for others with mental illness. I'm living proof that mental illness does not carry the sentence of a limited life. Thanks again.